decided to go practical on this thermostat. You can see here, I'm pouring some hot water on this thermostat on a practical basis of it. Inside that thermostat, I told you, is a filled waxed substance that when the temperatures of the coolant rises, it expands. As you can see here, it's expanding slightly. When it expands, it's open the valve of the thermostat, allowing the hot coolant to from the engine to go through now the radiators for it to be cooled. So let's look at it on how the thermostat operates. What's up, guys? Yes, I've been receiving some inquiries about the thermostat. Recently, I dealt with a client whose vehicle's thermostats had been removed. So we wanted to know, is it necessary for, or what are the effect of the thermostat when the thermostat of the vehicle is removed, or what are the advantage? Because apparently he couldn't see the difference. So he wanted to know, is it affecting the operation of the engine with time, or gradually? Because he's a layman in terms of vehicle, so he wanted to know from the experience or the technical part of it. So that one brought me to today's covering. So I decided, let's look at this. So with me here is an illustration of the cooling system of a vehicle. So here is the engine. It's just the diagram is not drawn to scale, so never mind, but I've tried. So with me here is an illustration of the cooling system of the vehicle. So the question here is, should you remove the thermostat? So let's look into that. So here, first, let's look at the operation of a thermostat. How does a thermostat operate? These are just samples of a thermostat when the engine is cold and when the engine is hot. So inside the thermostat is a waxed field. This waxed field expands and contracts depending on the temperature of the coolant. So if the temperature of the coolant is high, the wax inside here expands. When it expands, it opens and closes the valve of the thermostat depending on the operation of, or the status, the temperature of the coolant. So my people, here we have an engine, we have the radiator, these are the water pipes, the water channels, and there's a coolant, this is a coolant reservoir. This is where normally top up the coolant, and this is the radiator, the bypass canal, thermostat. So a thermostat is a valve. This valve is located between the engine and the radiator hose pipes. So the purpose of this thermostat is to regulate the temperature of the coolant. That is number one. So the reason why most people maybe opt to remove the thermostat is maybe because the thermostat is faulty. When it's faulty, some mechanic can advise their clients to remove it. It might be operational or not. So depending on that, we're going to see here if you're supposed to remove it when it's faulty or replace it. So guys, from this my diagram, you can see here, when you start your vehicle in the morning, there are two things are involved. One, the engine is cold, the coolant is cold, the engine oil is also cold. So when you crank your vehicle, remember we covered that issue of cold starting and whatever you can see in our YouTube channel. So when the engine is cold, the thermostat is normally at a closed point. When the engine is cold, the valve is closed because this waxed field is still intact. Has not sensed the warmth or the coolant that has already been hit by the engine. So it's normally closed. So when the engine is cold, the thermostat is also closed. The reason why the thermostat is closed is to enable the engine to warm as fast as possible. That way, it closes. When now the coolant that is circulating in the engine, when it's heat, it bypasses here. Then this thermostat is closed. So the coolant just flow here, and the circulation of the coolant takes a shorter time. So enabling your engine to warm faster. So with time, when you run and the engine gets warm or hotter, this thermostat valves opens. The reason why it opens and allowing the coolant to come now into the radiator where it's cooled. When it's cooled and into the radiator, coolant that is cool now passes back here, then back to the engine. That is how it operates. So the cycle keep on repeating depending on now the temperature of the coolant. So when the engine reach its optimum operation temperature, which is around 90 degrees Celsius, this valve normally opens. So depending on the climate or the place your vehicle is operating, I will advise to take cautious. When you're operating in cold areas like Limuru areas or places that are having cold climate, you have to make sure your fault thermostat is in place. But if you are in a place where the temperatures are normally fair, it's not that cold, it's a humid temperature, so you can you can operate without the thermostat. Having said that, this thermostat is very crucial for people who are living in a cool area. So it keeps on regulating the temperatures of the engine. That way, it's avoid overheating, because now where the thermostat you leave a cold place and the thermostat is removed, then that means the operation of the coolant, that is the coolant is heat here, it's come direct here, it will take long for the engine to warm up, because now warmed or hot coolant will just be bypassing this. You will be using this longer circuit, then to radiator, and the process goes on. So this one takes a longer time. And if it takes a longer time and the engine oil is cool, it has not. It has at that point. It's normally not at its optimum temperature, so that it can maneuver through the oil channels. Then that one will lead to your vehicle to maybe overheating, because it could lead overheating, or because there's no proper cooling of the engine, so your engine might overheat. So guys, be cautious on where or when to remove the thermostat. So that is how the thermostat operates. So be mindful on when to remove it and when not to remove the temperature. If it's faulty, I'll advise you to replace it. So that is how the thermostat operates. Now, my good people, the reason of me covering these things are to educate you people in terms of how important the cooling system of your vehicle should be. If now the thermostat is moved in your vehicle and you are not aware, you want to buy a vehicle, if you are not you're not that much involved in motor vehicles, you might not know when your vehicle, the thermostat is removed or is still in place. That is why ideal loss assessors come into play. If you want to buy a vehicle, if you want your vehicle to be valued, to be assessed, then ideal loss assessors is the place to be. We do assessment, we do evaluation and pre-purchase inspection. The reason why you should do pre-purchase inspection, it will help you to negotiate. If the vehicle is found with the faulties like these ones, you are able to maneuver around, knowing that your vehicle, the vehicle that you are going to purchase, has one or two issues that is supposed to be handled, and in that case, the seller of the vehicle is going to put that into consideration. So, my good people, stay put. Our number is 0702027413 in case you want to make an inquiry, in case you want to make a consultation about a vehicle. Ideal Loss Assessors is the place to be. So stay tuned for this kind of content.